New Year's on the Golden Empire Bay Railroad had majority of the engines sitting in the roundhouse celebrating New Year's while watching fireworks go off in the distance, marking a brand new year for all of the engines. However, some engines still have to work to keep the railroad running. They simply don't like to work during the transition of a new year. While Christmas had just passed, there was still a heavy demand to get passengers back to their homes on time to meet their friends, families, or relatives. It had gone so crowded at the terminus station that there was an Amtrak double set with Comet and B-level cars.
Man, passengers keep coming everywhere. I just came back from break and the demand is still high.
There's no way we're gonna keep up with this. On the freight side, it wasn't too serious, but some engines and crews had to miss out on spending New Year's with their families or friends as they were caught in to keep freight going. Makai and Antonio were two good engine friends, just like any other engine having other friends on the railroad. Heck, both were friends when they resided at Barstow, where both were transferred to the Golden Empire Bay Railroad at two different times. Hey Makai and Antonio, I got a job for you both. You have to take BNSF hoppers from the Lonely Yards to a grain mill at Guernsey and have to switch them.
But that means we'll be back after New Year's.
Yes, I know it's unfair that you two have to work during a holiday, but Christmas had just passed. I'll give you both 2 days of rest after New Year's.
Alright, Yardmaster, we're gonna get fueled up and go get those empty hoppers. We're not gonna be back on time for New Year's since we gotta take some grain hoppers to a mill a couple hours away.
Alright then, Happy New Year!
Have a happy new year. I'll see you both again in 2025.
Thank you guys. Happy New Year. We're gonna need more horsepower to get all of this moving.
Don't worry, a KCS engine is waiting for us. Makai's crew was right. A KCS SD70Mac number 3967 was waiting for them. Once they coupled up to him, Layton and Devin were nearby and they helped out switching the grain hoppers for them.
Here are all of your grain cars, Makai. I wish you a safe trip. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Layton.
Soon, Makai, Antonio, and KCS 3967 got the train rolling out of the yards.
We'll be back here after New Year's, you know.
Well, it's been so long since I spent New Year's with other KCS engines. I don't mind spending it with you this year.
I could have been resting today, but no! I have to take these cars the long way around. Yardmaster's gotta assign me on one of the most busiest holidays.
At least you're still on the railroad. We have to take grain hoppers far from here. You're just lazy, that's all.
I'm not. I expected traffic to be low today.
During their run, it was all good until rain had just started pouring down and when they were diverted onto a siding.
Come on, we got the right of way.
Well, we're not meeting one train, but 3 trains. And since we're hauling empty grain cars, we have to allow the 3 other trains to have the right of way before us.
Couldn't we just keep going?
Well, we can't risk delaying other trains as we're low priority, so we're gonna have to go along with it.
Makai's crew was right. A BNSF manifest was waiting in the opposite direction of Makai. Later, an Amtrak San Joaquin rushed by, trying to keep up on schedule. Sorry, transportation traffic is heavy. I got passengers coming in minutes late. Some time passed and a BNSF intermodal sped past. Afterwards, the manifest ahead of Makai was switched onto the other track. Sorry we have to let you go last. Working on holidays is a nightmare.
Yes, I know that.
Finally, after all that traffic, now we can go in a few minutes.
When Makai, Antonio, and KCS 3967 started moving, they started wheel slipping as the rain made the rails wet.
The rain really had to come at the worst time, didn't it?
I couldn't agree more.
After numerous stops and long waits, they arrived at Guernsey when it was already dark and raining cold.
I know switching takes forever, but what other choice do we have?
Yeah, but by the time we're done, it'll be 2025. We obviously don't have time to make it back for New Year's.
At least you do have an engine or someone to spend New Year's with.
Huh? Who are you? Are you one of the agents that work at this mill?
Well, at least I used to. Nearly 20 years ago. I was starting to break down often, and so I was parked on the siding ever since. The newer switchers have long replaced me, but they also saw me as old and useless.
Couldn't they spend the holidays with you?
They preferred to be by themselves. I could have been with them, but once I was retired, I'd been vandalized and graffitied. Those switchers didn't want an engine with them that looked terrible.
I'm so sorry to hear that. You deserve better. Anyways, we gotta get switching now. Happy New Year's to you.
Thank you, and you as well. The future isn't bright for me, but I'm glad I got to spend New Year's with another engine and talk to them since years, even if it's just for 3 minutes.
You're welcome.
The 3 had to load half of the grain hoppers they took in along with the other ones that were already there. Then the other half of the hoppers would be moved behind the loaded ones in case there wasn't enough grain to be transported north. These hoppers would go up north shortly after New Year's where there was a demand for grain. The switchers were already exhausted having to switch thousands of hoppers over the year. By the time Makai, Antonio, and KCS 3967 finished loading and switching the grain hoppers, they entered a brand new year.
Well, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year to you as well. By the way, Antonio will lead back, and 3967 will be the last. But first we'll rest up for some time before we do.
Alright then.
Next morning, Antonio, Makai, and KCS 3967 returned home on the Golden Empire Bay Railroad. They were delighted to see all of their friends once again.
Hey, Makai, glad you made it back. Now, how was that run?
It was long, but we got her done.
How's the New Year so far?
Good, I guess.
And for the rest of the New Year's holiday, Makai and Antonio hanged out with the other engines along with KCS 3967. The next day, Both Makai and Antonio wanted to start the new year right and decided they wanted to work instead of resting for another day.
What happened here?
Haley and Tara weren't looking carefully and rammed those freight cars behind my intermodal train.
Dude, we couldn't see what was ahead of us.
Oh, now you're accusing me that I pulled on your track.
Haley is always reckless when it comes to switching. Shut up!
Boy, it looks like they'll have a tough beginning.
As Makai and Antonio did begin their year right, some engines still caused careless mistakes even when they were beginning their new year.